What's going on, Business Body Elite members? Irvin Felix Jean, and today we are with Sean Thomas. So, Sean, just give us a quick introduction, or no, take your time and explain who you are, what you do. Just give us a little rundown.
What's going on, folks? My name is Dr. Sean Thomas. I'm a physical therapist by trade. I've been practicing physical therapy since 2011. I'm currently one of the directors for a clinic called Jag1 Physical Therapy in Brooklyn, New York, the Georgetown office, and I'm also the president of Be More Today, which is my own personal fitness company, striving just to educate people about fitness and wellness and health, and just make sure that every single day they can live their best lives to the fullest.
That's awesome, and as you know, health is wealth. Number one, no matter what you do, whatever your job is, we have to understand that at the end of the day, you cannot fulfill those needs, those requirements if you're not in good health. So I definitely commend you for, even taking it upon yourself further than your profession to really embody and show no, this is a lifestyle. It's outside of work, this is what you do, and you try and help people strive to get to that, next level of wellness. So give us a little introduction, not an introduction, a little run through of some of the major things that you go through here at the job, dealing with different rehab processes and injuries. Just give us a little bit of that.
First of all, thanks again for having me.
Definitely.
I'm very, very excited to be with you guys. And, physical therapy is one of the more up-and-coming professions that's kind of in our world right now. It's something that will always be here because people always get hurt. So our main job is to restore function. Whether you're a weekend warrior trying to get back to work without having pain, or just someone who has arthritis or low back pain or had a surgery, our main job is to get everybody back to their function. So whatever it is, that's our goal. Restoring range of motion, restoring strength, and getting back to regular activities of daily living. So if we can do that without having pain, it's even better. And my job is basically to assess movement. I've been trained to kind of assess the way people walk, the way people kind of sit, and getting them just to get back to doing what they need to do, whether it's their jobs or just taking care of their kids at home without pain, sleeping without pain, just things that we need to do on a regular basis, being able to drive, turn left and right after a surgery, things you kind of take for granted when you have to go through some kind of trauma, whether it's a surgery or, just good old-fashioned arthritis, which kind of hits everybody at some point in time. My job is just to get you guys back to doing those things and get back to life.
That's a major responsibility. So what would you say are some common injuries or limitations that people, if there is something common that you would say that you face on a regular basis with trying to help people recover from?
I gotta say the two most common things we see in here are usually knees. Knee pain is pretty prominent, especially in an urban city like New York, because for the most part, a lot of people walk. Mm-hmm. You're talking about stairs, you're talking about walking from, get to the bus, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people are mobile compared to people maybe in other suburban areas where they are in cars a long time. So we see a lot of knee issues, from arthritis to people who've had actual injuries like meniscus injuries, or just good old-fashioned knee pain that they really can't put a pin on. So knee pain is huge, and knee pain and probably anything that's related to either back or neck pain, and that's more related to people having stress or people having babies, or people just sitting in their chairs for a long time, either at their jobs or whatever that they're doing. That's kind of that thing that is constant in their lives, where they can't really get up and do certain movements. Low back pain and knee pain are probably the two biggest things we see here on a regular basis.
So these issues, as far as getting knee issues, you have a knee issue, you're not stuck with it permanently.
Yeah.
There's because I feel like a lot of people kind of have the misconception that if you have arthritis or knee pain like that, you have to get surgery, you have to get a knee replacement. Is that true?
Right. It's not always true. Our main focus is to make sure that everyone can at least get the best assessment that they can and to work on not having surgery. So, as someone who has had 2 surgeries personally, I know surgery is not fun. Going to the rehab is not fun. Surgery is easy and it's quick, but the rehab takes a toll on you. And the surgeries that I have were both based on sports-related injuries, and they had to be done because it wasn't going to heal on itself. Mm-hmm. So if surgery is necessary and you have to do it, absolutely. But most things with rehab, with strengthening, stretching, postural assessments and changes, you can kind of avoid having surgery if you work on the right things. And physical therapy is basically that realm to kind of get you to see what you can and cannot do. And if you see progress with it, then yeah, avoiding surgery would be the best thing to do, just to make sure you can live a better life. And once you kind of go in there and start tampering with the body, it's an amazing thing by itself, and it heals itself very, very well. And sometimes surgery is warranted, no question about it.
Sure.
But most times people can kind of get away without having surgery by doing therapy first. And a lot of people come here first to kind of see how things go, how they can kind of get stronger. And if they do get stronger, it's a win-win.
That makes sense. So let's now talk about, you mentioned neck pain and back pain. A lot of people with this day and time, this device right here, laptop, do you see that playing a role in a lot of the people that come in here? And if so, what are some instructions that you would give them? And, just give us some insight about that in general.
I feel like for the most part, posture is a big thing. You really can't change your posture unless you really are aware of it. And the word postural awareness is something that we kind of take for granted, but it's something that we teach here. Just your ability to recognize where you are in space. We get so caught up with work and with school and with babies and with family that a lot of times we neglect ourselves. We tend to give other care to other people, to our children. I have a daughter who's 4. Everything I do for her is just based on her, so she's my priority. Mm-hmm. But for most people, they really focus on other people, not themselves, or their job. And, we have 9 to 5, usually 9 to 5 jobs, but sometimes people work, later than that. So posture diminishes. It's the same way if you run a race, everybody has a good posture in the beginning, but at the end, you look kind of crazy. So posture is something that's very, very important. And one of the things that's most important about posture is that for everyone, it should be something that's stable. Your spine is a strong entity. Its main job is to make sure that your muscles are going to be able to have support, and that whenever you do certain movements, that there's no change in what you're doing, that you're not overcompensating by using certain muscles opposed to other muscles to get what you have to get done. But over time, and like you said, with everything that's anterior in our lives, mm-hmm. right? We drive forward, mm-hmm. we text forward, we type forward, we watch TV forward. Everything is all interior stuff, right? So this nice posture that you hopefully see with us sitting here, tends to diminish, and you start to get rounded shoulders. You get tight pectoral muscles. Mm-hmm. The head comes forward this way. You get tight neck, exactly. Kyphosis, exactly. So all those things kind of happen, and again, it's natural. If we live in a gravity eliminated environment, there'd be nothing pulling us down, mm-hmm. but everything pulls us down in general. So it's inevitable that after a certain period of time, you're going to feel that this turns to this because we get tired. Mm-hmm. So strengthening the posterior chain muscles is going to be the best thing to do. And also stretching those muscles that get kind of tight. So for people who have tight pectoral muscles, stretching out those pec muscles, either in the doorway or doing things even behind your back. I mean, I've shown people a lot of things to do just kind of sitting down at their desk. Mm-hmm. They can do, seated chairs, stretches like this, kind of open up their pectoral region. They can do chin tucks. Chin tucks are a great way just to work on posture because most people in general have a forward head posture because it's very easy for us to get here, especially people who are taller, who have to kind of adjust to people who are not as tall. They look down a lot. So this downward posture, this downward looking, and the forward rotation of the shoulders and everything is just all here, needs to be corrected. And if you do chin tucks, which is not a double chin, it's basically just like tucking your chin in this way and stretching out the muscles that kind of get put down this way, it alleviates the tightness that you have on your neck in general.
Just kind of did that and I got some release in just like that right there.
So chin tucks are cool, pec stretches are cool, upper trap stretches, which most people have been doing all their lives in kindergarten and high school, any kind of sports, you'll always see people doing these kind of stretches, and they seem mundane, but they actually really do a good job of releasing the tension that we have in our upper traps. Because a lot of us, especially if you're in New York and you're in rush hour traffic, a lot of people get, 10 and 2, shoulder shrug, and they're like this for the rest of the day. So stretching out those upper traps, or levator scap muscles, or even the rhomboid muscles here this way, which are kind of between your shoulder blades, all those things can kind of just work on making sure that your alignment is put back into place. And if you do those things on a regular basis, which I think is the hard part for most people.
Regular basis.
Right. Doing those things on a regular basis. So every day, it takes like 5 minutes just to kind of stretch out those muscles. Upper trap, levator scap, rhomboid stretch, pectoral stretch, chin tucks, done. And the more you do those things, again, muscle memory kind of kicks in. Your body responds to it by knowing that, okay, I'm supposed to be here, not here. And you kind of become
accustomed to doing the right thing.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
So that was major key right there as far as fixing the posture. And, you know, like you said, a lot of everything that we do is anterior. And even people who work out, you know, just because you work out, that doesn't exclude you from these problems from taking place, especially if you're just doing anterior exercises. It's easy to get down and just do push-ups. And a lot of people forget to do, you know, inverted rows or you know, pulls to focus on the posterior.
Right.
So that's a major key right there as well. Let's talk about now the hips, sitting down, prolonged seated position. What would you say? Well, I would assume that's another common thing as far as with the neck as well.
Oh, yeah.
The seated thing. What are some things that you see going on there? You know, tightened hip flexors and what as far as sitting down at the computer all day. What are some issues that you see associated with that, and what would you say is, you know, just like with some stretching or quick tips that would reduce, you know, that tightness, or you know, get away with it altogether.
Right. So a lot of patients that I see who come in with low back pain have these issues when it comes to prolonged sitting. My truck drivers, some of my students who kind of sit for a long time because they have to sit for studying purposes. Everything gets very, very tight. Muscles in general, if you don't move them, they get tight. So the best way to stretch a muscle is to elongate it, to make sure that it moves and has the longest stretch possible. When you sit like us, the way we're sitting right now, the muscles that are here, right? If you think about my hands being my hip flexors, they're kind of doing this right now because we've been sitting for, you know, a long period of time. And when you try to get up, those muscles have a lot of stress and tension on them. So the best way to kind of stretch out those muscles would be really just to stand up and do certain things like, you know, a quad stretch, or even for those who can, to put that leg up and kind of do a rotation stretch this way to kind of stretch out those glutes that have been sitting for a long time. Seated hamstring stretches, even if you were to put a chair out in front of you and put your foot on that chair and just kind of try to touch your toe, which again, some people can't get up during their jobs. They have to kind of sit and just do what they have to do. But for some who can actually do any kind of movement or even take, you know, a couple breaks, these are simple things you can kind of do just to kind of make sure that your back and your glutes and your hamstrings is going to rest. Because again, the more that they don't move, the tighter they get, the more tense they get. And then when you get up after a half an hour or even an hour, you feel like you just woke up in the morning. You're not really able to move at all. So stretching out those muscles, you know, every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, every half an hour, even if you can, is going to make sure that you can do a lot of things a lot better. Even people go on long flights. I've had people who have had back issues and they, you know, sit for a long time, like truck drivers, and they have to go on long flights and they have pain, you know, for these long flights. Best advice I can get, you know, every half an hour, get up, just go for a little walk. Like even a 2-minute walk is better than sitting for 4 hours and not moving. Your low back gets very, very tight again with not moving. So even chair stretches, putting your hand on one side and turning to one side is a good lumbar rotation stretch you can kind of do. And on the other side as well, knee to chest stretches are good for the glutes, just to kind of make sure that those things don't get so tight. These are just simple kind of tips that work on you being able to, when you do get up, it doesn't feel like it's all kinds of crazy in those hips and in those low back muscles. And again, the more you do it, the more consistent it becomes, the less tension you're going to have, and the less you'll have to do to get back to neutral or just normal for that person.
Makes perfect sense. And as far as, once again, those are, pay close attention to that as far as you can do it right there in your desk. There's no excuse, I have to go to the gym in order to do that. You can do it right there while you're sitting down. You don't even have to get up. Frequency, you said you can do this every day, right?
Yeah, so stretches are easy because you can really do them every day without having stress or tension on your muscles.
In opposed to like doing push-ups.
Right. So when muscles stretch, it's actually a good thing. It elongates the muscle. It actually brings more oxygen and blood flow to the area. It makes muscles that are kind of tense more relaxed. It kind of tends to relaxes the entire body. So it's a positive thing. You think about strengthening things like push-ups or sit-ups. Those things, they tax the muscles. So the muscles actually kind of break up a little bit and they get worked. And they need a chance or a time to relax, or an off period where they can kind of refresh themselves. So that's why you don't do push-ups or sit-ups or these things every single day. Mm-hmm. You should do them and they're great to do, but you do need a period of time where you give the muscle a chance to rest. Stretching, totally different. You can stretch as much as you want, but what you don't want to do is overstretch. So stretching until you feel at least at that tension in that muscle where the muscle is being elongated, you feel like a nice gentle stretch, that's perfect. When you get to places where it feels like it's either too tense or too painful or too much pressure, then you've gone too far. And then that can also cause damage on the body. So gentle stretches until you feel some stretching on that side or wherever you're doing your stretching and you feel a pulling of the muscle. Once you get there, 30 seconds is a good amount of time to do something for. And you figure if you do it for 4 times, that's about 2 minutes. That's sufficient to work on any kind of muscle to be at least elongated for that period of time. And again, if you do that consistently, the more you do it, the less tense you'll be and the more consistent and easier it'll feel every time you do it.
All right, so anything else you want to add? Any last, as far as tips or anything like that you might think are important to somebody who's experiencing some sort of issue?
In just the sitting?
Yeah, or in general. In general.
So yeah, I mean, when it comes to your body, everyone knows the body very, very well. The interesting about the human body is that, you know, we have a lot of tests that kind of show MRIs and X-rays, what's going on inside. For instance, you might not know this by looking at me, but, you know, I've had a broken finger, I've had 2 knee surgeries here, I've had a plantar plate ligament tear in my foot, I've had all kinds of stuff. But these kind of things where, you know, X-rays and MRIs show certain things in the body and they look very, very bad or seem very, very bad, the human body does a great job of healing. And if you do any kind of therapy for yourself, I guarantee you will see results. And you'll see that gentle stretching or even exercising, you know, they say 30 minutes a day for 5 days during the week. These kind of things are beneficial just to make sure that the body flows well. We're just like cars. So the same way you got to make sure your car is running, you got to make sure you put gas in your car, get your oil changed and those kind of things. It's the same for the body. So anything that you do that gives yourself consistency in terms of doing exercises or just noticing that you're monitoring yourself and you're making sure that you put some time into you will see results. And, you know, prayerfully and hopefully you can avoid having to have any surgery like I did. That's kind of how I got into this thing, by recognizing that surgery is not fun and that doing exercises and, you know, fixing your body is great. Now, you know, I kind of fix myself. So our job is to kind of make sure we can teach you guys as much as we can and you can fix yourselves too.
There we go. So we're about to show you guys some actual stretches and, you know, techniques and tips that you can follow right now. Let us know where we can find you. Any plug, social media, website, whatever it is, where...
Yeah, Be More Today is the best way you can find me. I'm on Instagram at Be More Today, Be More #2 Day, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. So, and BeMoreToday.com if you want to look up any of my exercises or workouts that we do. Our job is just to make sure that you make the rest of your life the best of your life, and that's our main focus.
Very good. So everything will be, wherever we have the description, will be linked to his stuff. You'll be able to see it there, and we're going to get into that. Once again, thank you for the sit down and the talk.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it 100%. Remember, health is wealth. Health is wealth. The more you know about yourself, the more you can educate yourself about what's going on with your body. And I'm speaking from experience as well. You know, the better you can counteract, you know, these things that are probably inevitable if you're pushing yourself really hard, and especially if you're living a lifestyle that's active or not active, you know, things can happen. So the more you know, the more you grow, and you can counteract these things from happening. So let's get into the next part.